Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. You're listening to the longest running superhero role playing game on earth. I'm your host, the Game Master, and today we're talking about Spider Man versus the Transformers. And for some, that might sound like a weird crossover, but believe it or not, Spider Man made an appearance in Transformers Volume Number 1, Issue Number 3. Then again on July 4th, 2007, in the Avengers Transformers crossover called Man and Machine, Part 1. And in the 1980s Transformers cartoon, there was an episode called The Autobot Run, where the Autobots hold a race for charity. And in the stands watching the race is a little kid wearing a Spider Man t shirt. And according to the official Transformers wiki, in the cartoon continuity, Spider Man is real and was enough of a celebrity that kids wore Spider Man t shirts. Anyways, before we get into the adventure itself, smash like, make sure you're subscribed, and leave us a comment. That helps us out with the YouTube algorithm, but also we love to hear from you guys. We've got an awesome community here, and it's all thanks to you. So thank you so much for being here. So, all that said, let's dive in. The prologue unfolds in New York City, where Autobot scientists Wheeljack and Perceptor bring their mastery of space bridge technology to the table, joining forces with human innovators like Reed Richards and Tony Stark. As a brief aside, King Arthur explained to Tony Stark that in the old world, police officers had kept the peace. Now, Arthur wants something similar, but a modern order of knights equipped with Stark designed armor to defend the cities of this new government. Tony was hesitant at first, reminding Arthur of the armor wars back in the 80s when countless supervillains had managed to steal and copy Tony's Iron Man designs. Arthur explained that the armor he envisioned for these new protectors didn't need to fly or come armed with weapons. All he asked was better protection for those keeping order. So, with that compromise, Tony agreed. While the Stargate hums to life, the fledgling peacekeepers on the scene patrol in streamlined units, watered down versions of the Iron Man armor. Each carries a mass produced lightsaber with a stun setting designed for knocking out unruly criminals. The new knights look on as the Stargate ignites, a ring of light and energy. Light years away, Forge and Beast spark the gate's twin into action. Reality bends and the two gateways become one. Ever the scientist, Reed Richards tests it personally. First, an exploratory arm, then his entire body, as he steps boldly into alien territory. This moment is nothing short of historic. The first safe, stable doorway from Earth to another planet. For humanity, it isn't just a scientific triumph, it's the beginning of becoming an interstellar civilization. Unfortunately, the Stargate demands an enormous amount of power, requiring a generator capable of supplying it. And unsurprisingly, the Decepticons have their sights set on that very generator. By nightfall, the Stargates throughout Grand Central Station are active, forming a web that stretches to other worlds. With their work complete for the day, the building closes its doors. Meanwhile, not far from Grand Central, Peter Parker, genius, inventor, and now businessman, is up late in his lab working tirelessly while most of the city sleeps. Peter was feeling the weight of too many hours in the lab, his eyelids heavy, and his mind craving a cup of coffee. Stepping outside for a quick break, he barely had time to register the screech of tires as three identical Porsche 959 sports cars hurtled towards Grand Central Station. With a quick dash into a nearby alley, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man slipped into his costume and was once again ready to swing into action. Meanwhile, the Vehicons smashed through glass doors and barreled into the main concourse. Tires screeched across marble floors, columns trembled, and chaos erupted as the sleek cars tore a path straight towards the Stargates. At the end of the main concourse, the purple cars unfolded and reconfigured, revealing a squad of identical robots. Each bore a featureless face broken only by the narrow gleam of a red glowing visor. As the Vehicons inspected the nearest Stargate, trying to figure out how to remove its power source, Spider Man swung into the massive room on a web line, then climbed onto the ceiling. Spidey called out, reminding him that it's never polite to touch things that don't belong to you. And with that, the Vehicons pivoted and began to fire, sending streaks of energy slicing through the dimly lit room. We rolled initiative, and the Vehicons go on 15, while Spider Man gets to go on 37. He sees them preparing to fire, so he declares active dodge. That means for the duration of his round, his dexterity doubles. It goes from 12 to 24. Vehicons are basically just drones. So they only have a weaponry skill of 4 APs, which means in order for them to hit Spidey right now, they need to roll a 36 or higher on 2d10. Suffice it to say, they do not. Instead, their laser beams light up the room, hitting the ceiling, shattering a piece of it. And as debris rains down, Spider-Man web slings over to the nearest robot and uses both of his feet and tries to kick it. In terms of landing a hit, he only needs a 5 or better. But each of these robots has a body of 16. So in order to actually inflict damage, Spider-Man needs to roll an 18 or better. And on this round, he rolls double nines and then a 2 and a 7 for a grand total of 27. So it's Spider-Man's strength of 9 versus the robot's body of 16. We look at table 2 and see that the bad guy only took 4 points of damage. So, as hard as they are to injure, this is not really looking good for Spider-Man. On the robot's turn, they fire again and miss. And since these guys are dumb drones, Spider-Man gets an idea. He shoots a web line to the ceiling and then swings between the two of them, but then he stays in that space on the map. That's it. That's his turn. Then it's their turn again. So they both aim at him and fire, but his dex is currently 12. So they need a 21 or better to hit. One rolls a 7 and a 9, while the other rolls an 8 and a 6. So while they both manage to miss Spider-Man, what they do manage to hit is each other. And they both get 3 column shifts. So that means they both take 2 points of damage. Spider-Man was hoping that would have done more damage than it did. He also sees the third Vehicon trying to steal a generator. So on Spidey's turn, he uses webbing to snare the hands of that Vehicon. For his remaining automatic action, our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man tells the Decepticon that he has sticky fingers. None of the robots laugh at his pun, and the other 2 robots try to shoot Spider-Man again. So he dodges and says, "Tough room," then swings around and tries for another kick, but he only gets a 5 and a 1. They shoot at Spider-Man, rolling a 7 and a 4, which still misses. And the one that was gummed up with webbing tries to free himself, which he can do if he gets a 7 or better. And he does. Then he decides to shoot at Spider-Man too, but he can't do that till next turn. Spider-Man tries to hit one of them again, and this time rolls a 5 and a 2. So he's not liking how this is going. Spider-Man quips that this looks like a job for Superman, then leaps off of that robot. The robots shoot and miss again. Then Spidey does a superhero landing on the face of one of the robots, punching it in the visor, rolling a 10 and an 8, doing another 3 points of damage. So the one trying to steal the generator still has all of its hit points. It has a body of 16. Spider-Man refers to this one as Mo. One of the others has a body of 10. Spider-Man refers to him as Larry. And the third robot has a body of 11. Spider-Man refers to him as Curly. All three robots shoot at Spider-Man again, and all three of them miss. So Spider-Man goes after Larry since he has the lowest body. Spider-Man rolls a 10 and an 8, so Larry's body is down to a body of 8 now. The Decepticons all team attack Spider-Man, and thanks to the team attack bonus, now they only need a 15 or better to hit. Mo rolls a 9 and a 7, which is a hit, and he does 6 points of damage. So Spider-Man's body drops from a 9 to a 3. Larry rolls a 4 and a 2, which is a miss. Curly rolls a 6 and a 3, which is also a miss. So Spider-Man needs a new plan. He's one good hit away from being knocked out, and the last thing he wants is to be snuffed out by some random drone. And even if they lose interest in him and actually let him live, if he's laying there knocked out, some random person might unmask him. That wouldn't just put him in danger, it would put his entire family in harm's way. So Spider-Man does one last thing. He fires a spider tracer at Mo, rolling an 8 and a 3, which succeeds, and it sticks to him. Then, as an automatic action, he tells the Decepticons they're just too tough for a puny flesh creature like him. And for his last auto, he retreats. The Decepticons see this and basically don't care. Their mission was to steal the generator, so they do. Then they walk outside to the street where the quote-unquote knights have shown up. And they're all wearing black and blue power armor, and they have some futuristic vehicles that Stark gave them as well. And like we said before, their gear is not on par with the actual Iron Man. And even he would have a hard time stopping a Transformer. So while the Knights fire at the Decepticons with blaster pistols, the Decepticons blow up their vehicles, and then the Decepticons transform and drive away. Spider-Man heads around back and web slings after the Decepticons using stealth so as not to be spotted. Using his spider sense, then, that allows him to track the spider tracer that he planted on Mo. Spidey follows them to a beach where the three purple sports cars just drive into the water. Spider-Man stops on the beach looking out at the ocean towards what used to be the Statue of Liberty. The trail seems to have just come to a dead end, so Spidey kicks some sand out of frustration. Which brings us to the epilogue. The three Decepticons drive underwater and then transform into their robot modes. They walk along the floor of the Atlantic Ocean to Tidal Wave, a Decepticon ship, not only in the sense that he himself is a Decepticon who can transform into an aircraft carrier, but also he was built at Transformer scale. So a character the size of Megatron can walk around inside of that ship just fine. So that should give you an idea of how huge Tidal Wave is and how much energy he requires, which is where these generators come in. The captain of this ship is a Decepticon named Skystalker, who used to command a different Decepticon ship, which is how he earned his name. He transforms into an orange Porsche 959, and he wants to be the new leader of the Decepticons. And Tidal Wave is sort of like his secret weapon. But Tidal Wave requires this massive amount of energy. So while Skystalker is pleased that his Viacon clones brought him a generator, it's going to take a lot more than this before he can lead the Decepticon army and conquer the Earth. And that was all the time we had for this adventure. We haven't seen the last of the Decepticons, of course, nor By a long shot, would this be the last time we ever see Spider-Man? But whatever happens between them is unfortunately a story for another day. We enjoyed playing this one. We hope you liked hearing about it. If so, smash like, make sure you're subscribed, and leave us a comment. And from all of us here at the longest running superhero role playing game on earth, we hope you have a good one, and we'll see you in the next adventure. Bye.